Welcome to the meditation module. I'm particularly excited to get to share some of my best practices, my experiences with you. This is where all of this work culminates, at least it has in my own practice, in my own life. The mindfulness, the breath work, the gratitude, the manifestation, it all comes together in meditation. And it's as I've deepened my own and strengthened my own meditation practice that I've really found answers, connectedness, love. So, while I'm not a certified meditation teacher, I've got quite a few years under my belt. I have learned from certified teachers in expensive, paid for, long-lasting classes. I'm going to share all that with you. I'm going to mash it together in a way that has worked for me and share with you why, but also leave it open enough for you to choose your own path. And I want to encourage you that if something feels really right, lean into it. And if it feels really, really right, go sign up for a class. Go get specifically trained on that technique. So with that said, let's get into what meditation it really is. And it's misused a lot out there. Mindfulness is not actual meditation. It's arguably maybe a type of meditation. But it's why we covered it earlier in this series, because it's being aware of this present moment, right? And it's purposely feeling and thinking into the present moment. Where meditation is still here in the present moment. In fact, that's the ultimate goal. But it's letting go of everything else. It's our goal is no goal. That's what's funny about it. And we don't actually meditate to become serene or tranquil or peaceful. But we do it to truly be in the here and now. And not just while we meditate, but in life. That's the point of meditation. It's finding that serenity and centeredness, not in meditation, not from meditation, but because we learn how to let go of everything else. Our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our attachments. For me, meditation has been a practice in detachment. And in my life, and maybe in yours too, attachment to thoughts, expectations, feelings, people, objects, materialism. It's the thing I struggle with the most. It's the thing that's the hardest to consistently let go of. And meditation, for me, has been that tool that's provided that detachment. So, as we use meditation to let go of everything that prevents us from being in the here and now, our thoughts, our wishes, our expectations, our attachments, as we've talked about, it becomes a tool and not a means to an end. And what I've found in my own life is that while I do sit in meditation almost every day and many times twice a day, it's not about the meditation. It's about learning how to detach in a way that I can do it in the course of life, around my kids, at work, when I'm having a discussion with my partner, whatever it may be, sitting in my car, driving, all the things that trigger us. So let's talk about how meditation, how some of the different practices and techniques around it. So usually it's done in a position kind of like I'm in right now. I'm actually on a mat. I'm also sitting on a round pillow. Um, that's not necessary though. I often sit in my office downstairs on a couch. So there are no rules. There's best practices. This kind of gets us in a state that's slightly uncomfortable, so we can get to a place where we're actually on the verge of what may be considered sleep, but there's no way we're going to fall asleep because it's not comfortable enough to fall asleep. In general, we want our back straight, not super hunched over, not so relaxed and rolled in. Relatively straight, not uncomfortably so though. I don't believe in doing this practice in an uncomfortable way. In fact, I can't even always sit here through the whole practice. Sometimes I have to sit with my back against something. And that's okay. There are no specific rules on how to do this. You do want your eyes closed though. There's ways you can use your eyes and techniques to kind of like filter out the light and have like a distant view, but ultimately closing your eyes, going inside and disconnecting from everything, detaching, requires eyes closed. Mouth closed helps as well. So breathing through our nose in just a rhythmic state. There's no need to, count it in a certain way, although counting can be a technique to help you drop into meditation, following your breath. But there are no rules about how to breathe. Just let it happen naturally, calmly, through your nose, in and out. I think a big thing that's misunderstood too is that we have to get rid of our thoughts, that they're a distraction, that they're evil or bad. It's how our mind works. It's our ego, our lower S self that is driving this body, that is allowing this vehicle, this human body, to navigate the world. Thoughts come with it. They're automatic. You can't prevent or stop them. So don't hate them. Don't beat yourself up over them. They do happen. But instead let your thoughts kind of pass through your mind, like clouds drifting through the sky. And the ultimate goal, I need to stop using the word goal. There is no goal in meditation, but is to become the observer of our thoughts. This is the first thing we talk about early on in some of these other lessons. Is how do we become the observer without being the judge, the jury, the executioner? Again, laying in the grass in a field, watching the clouds go by. Do that with your thoughts. Allow them just to float past. Because this really translates into how we want to practice life. Being the observer in life is one of the most helpful ways we can walk through life, where we're not constantly creating stories through judgments that aren't necessarily real. They're just our own overlay on life. And this is where meditation becomes not about meditation, but about practicing how to show up to life. So there's, I guess, four steps, four things I think through when I am practicing, when I'm thinking through meditation. And the first one is to have a beginner's mind. And whether this is in school, at work, any new subject in your home, family, with friends, any new subject you're trying to learn, when you have a beginner's mind, you don't know anything. You don't try to have the answers, blurt out your opinion, tell people they're wrong. You listen. Pay attention. You observe. So when I say my first rule or step in meditation is to have a beginner's mind, it's to today and 5 years from now approach this practice with a beginner's mind. Just show up. No expectations, no assumptions, no I knew that was going to happen, I told you so, judgments. Get rid of all that. Show up with a beginner's mind. Two, call it come to your senses. And it's allowing yourself to understand your emotional and physical state, and then to let go of it before you, or in the beginning of your meditation practice. You have emotions, you have feelings. They are impacting you all day long. And when we come to our senses, we don't ignore them or pretend like they're not there and just say, oh, I'm doing meditation, I can't have any of these things right now. No, we go, oh, my right thigh hurts. Gosh, I'm still feeling anxious. And you let them go for this practice. So as we come to our senses, as we observe, honor, respect what we're sensing, what we're seeing, tasting, touching, smelling, feeling, even what we're sensing. Just be aware and let them go. Patience is a virtue. That's the third one. I'm a few years into my meditation practice, and I don't know if I'm any better than I was when I first started. There's days where I can't shut things down. I can't get to a place where I think I should get, which is kind of the issue. Goes back to number one, beginner's mind. So have patience with yourself. Some days are better than others. And with meditation, there's no such thing as better. We'll get into that a little bit more, but as we talk about detachment, right? Letting go. It's also letting go of what's right or wrong or better or worse inside of the practice of meditation. Let all that go. And the last one is that, and we've touched on this, it's really important because it's such a hard lesson, or it was for me anyways, is that thoughts are not the enemy. You know, these kind of all roll up into each other. Have patience with yourself. Thoughts will happen. They happen to me every single time I step into meditation. It's part of it. It's the awareness piece, though. When you can have awareness of those thoughts and then bring yourself back to letting go, to detaching from them, to being the observer. That gets into the art of what meditation really is about. So if you're struggling and you're kind of beating yourself up saying, I just can't, it's so hard, my mind just goes a million miles an hour, I can't shut it down. Here's the good news. The mind thinks involuntarily, just like you breathe, just like your heart beats. It happens. So when you give your brain a command to shut up, it's arguably as impactful as trying to tell your heart to stop beating. It doesn't work so well. So if you can remember that nobody has full control over their thoughts. Nobody. For me, it's what allows me to bring in compassion. Have that patience we talked about. And understand all of this is okay, and in fact, it's more than okay. It's normal. You're human. That's how it works. Which gets us into, questions around, sometimes meditation feels deep, sometimes it feels shallow. Great. Which one's better? Whichever one you're having at the moment. But when I go deep, it feels like I got connected here. Amazing. I'm glad you had that experience. But it's interesting, when it's shallow, I walk away still having an experience that brings me, solutions, or makes me feel good or feel recharged. Yeah. There's no such thing as deep or shallow meditation. That's all a human overlay. It's made up. There's no right or wrong. There's no better or worse. This is a practice, and there's no mastering it. I don't even think Buddha mastered it. Give yourself a little reprieve and show up with compassion. I love this. Just a little thought for you. When we pray, it's when we're talking to God, whatever you call God. The big guy upstairs, Jesus' dad, infinite intelligence, collective wisdom. But so if prayer is talking to God, meditation is listening to God. And whether you're listening to your inner God, the Holy Spirit that lives in you, your capital S self, however you define it, or the larger conscious of God itself, himself, herself. All of it is about listening, being a receptacle. So I just want to remind you that everything that follows is a suggestion. All of these lessons, teachings, they're just experience shares by me. As I said, I've taken a lot of classes. I've tried a lot of different things. And what I'm sharing with you are my favorite things, best practices, what's worked for me. As always, you do you. Because you know what's right for you.